Hello and welcome back. This week we'll have a quick look at this Hymek, the one I picked up at the Shildon Model Railway Club exhibition back in June. As you can see, I've got quite a nice price on it. The box is sort of fairly tatty. We've got the old model number there, R.758, BR Loco, Hymek Diesel. We'll just have a swift look around the box. It's probably done its job and kept the model neat and tidy over the years. We'll just pop this down, have a swift look at the old 76 catalogue while we're here, because that's the date on the old instructions in the box there. There she is. We've got a R758 BB by Peacock Type 3 Class 35 Hymek diesel hydraulic locomotive, to be seen mainly on the former Great Western system, fitted with magnet adhesion and power collection from both bogies, so reasonably reliable on the old layout. We'll just have a swift look through this catalogue here. That's a terrific picture there, isn't there? The catalogue is a bit on the fragile side, so I don't really want to manhandle it around too much. Let's see if we can find the old price here. So here we've got 12th of January 1976. We'll just have a look down, and we've got diesel locos right at the bottom here. And we've got the Hymek right at the bottom of the page, and it was £8.25. That's a pretty good price, isn't it? Although I imagine at the time that was a fair old sum of money. So always nice to see these price lists. So we'll just pop that down to one side. There's a really great cutaway here of the old pannier tank. That's fantastic, isn't it? And there's the old Albert Hall sitting there above it. We'll just flick through a couple more pages. That's quite an interesting page with the controllers, isn't it? Quite an illustration, that. Let's flick through a few more. Track packs. How to model your layout. Really interesting tips and tricks there. Handful of sets. A great little industrial loco with those lovely blue coaches. I've got some of those tucked away. Children enjoying the model railway. Wonderful battery controller there, isn't it? It's a variation on the old battery controller I picked up at Shildon, I think. I don't have one of those at the moment, I don't think. And again, some great pictures. As I say, it is quite a fragile catalogue. The old staples have gone in the corner there. So look at the old cover. Put that down. And I think somebody's written a price there of 30p. I don't know whether we can just see that. And there is a dealer stamp on the back. I can't quite read the name of the store, but it's Burton-on-Trent there by the looks of it, and the telephone number there, 64240. I wonder if the store's still there. As I say, I can't quite read the name of the dealer there. Just have a quick look in the back of the catalogue. We've got some interesting other sort of modelling items there included in the range for this year. So I'm not quite familiar with those items. So a wonderful overhead of the old layout there, isn't there? Quite a thing. Let's see if we can have a look at some more items here. Some great ideas on how to keep your layout in a space. If you're short of space, that one's suspended from the ceiling. I quite like that idea. And track geometry, buildings, bridges, signalling, plenty of coaches. And they really sort of got their act together a bit with the old photography by 1976, really showing the products to great effect. So we'll put that to one side, and we'll have a look at the Hymek. So here she is in the box. It's a white polystyrene inside. So these boxes are fairly fragile. go. You put the box to one side. And there she is. So interesting, you can see that little piece of white through the window there. That's the sticker on the chassis, advising you to undo the clip which holds the bogie in a certain direction, rather than undoing the screw. Just pop that down. The old instruction leaflet here. It's a fairly general one again. Covers most of the range. It's the catalogue number for the model there, R.758, 21st of the 4th, 76. Hornby Railways. Quite a nice illustration at the bottom there. It's quite a lovely thing, isn't it? So we've seen some of these pictures before. I think they just keep revising these sheets as time goes on. At the inside, interesting instructions on how to set up that battery controller we just saw in the catalogue there. So we'll just pop that to one side and have a swift look at the model. She's in fairly tidy condition. I hadn't had to do too much to get her running. Just a little clean on the wheels, and she was missing one of the codes on the end, which I reproduced another one. I'll show you that in a moment. And there we have her out of the box. So just have a close look along the sides there. You can see these moulded in handrails, which look quite interesting, and they extend up into the window detail there. The window frames are separately fitted in this model, although I believe later models this detail was included in the main part of the bodywork. So we've got nice painted front here. We've got a little bit of wear through the old paintwork there, which lies in the box. So we don't have any interior cab detail in there. So that number is just, I think, is printed directly onto the plastic. It's self-coloured plastic, so the model's moulded in the colour of plastic that you see. So there's the old clip there, which helps hold the chassis into the body moulding. So it's quite nicely done, isn't it? And this mould was around for quite a long time. I don't think they really changed it too much, apart from altering the way the windows were fitted in. And if we have a look at the other end, we've got the code box here, and that's part of the clip assembly which holds the whole thing together. At some point they seem to have done away with the securing screw in the bottom there. So we'll just have a look along the top. Quite crudely moulded horns into the top, and it is, as far as I can see, the same moulding as the one on the one from 1967 in that beautiful green livery. So we're just losing some focus there. So we've got metal buffer heads, and they're just pushed into the plastic buffer beam there. I think the buffer beams are separately fitted part too. The old D-shaped couplings here, tension lock couplings, and that one's sort of a rivet style fixing onto the metal motor bogie there. We do have magnet adhesion here. We've got a really strong stick to the track with this, as you see. It really does pull very, very well. So we've got power pickup on the trailing bogie here. So we've got a plastic wheel on the one side and metal on the other, and a very crude pickup arrangement there. But it really does smooth out the model. And here we go, we've got Hornby Railways name on the bottom there. See if we can get that into focus for you. You just see that there. And then the model number, and then built in Britain. I do like this plate on the bottom. It's a shame they didn't adopt that metal plate method on some of their other models. And then the tension lock coupling just riveted into the plastic bogie here. And off she goes, out of the yards there, across the points. Just look at her as she goes across the point work. She's very smooth, there's not even a stutter there. We're just going to bring her around to points number 7 to a gentle stop. I've just removed the body moulding. We'll have a swift look at the chassis here. We can see that paper label there we could see through the window. I think a bit more thought could have been given to where you position that, then you wouldn't see it through the windows. So it says, "Do not unscrew, lift and slide spring clip to release power bogie. So that is the spring clip. I've already released it. They're a bit fiddly to do. So if you undid that screw there, the top of the motor bogie begins to fall apart. We'll just pop that one down. We can see the cabling here through the chassis, the weight to hold the trailing bogie down. You can see the pickups there. And there's the old motor bogie. We'll switch that around and we'll just release that a little bit so we can have a look at the motor bogie. I think later models, when it turned to model R.758, got the ring-field motor, and then the chassis was changed so that the bogies could just clip into it instead of being held in by a spring clip. So we've got the motor bogie. A great thing, really powerful. Another one of Tri-ang Hornby's really fantastic designs, I think. It really does do the job. It's a little noisy, but I don't have one of the models with the ring-field motor, so I can't really compare it. And I say that's quite a neat design, that chassis just clipping into the bodywork. You can see the hangover there from when the whole thing was secured in with the screw on the earlier models. So we'll pop that one down. Actually, just have a look at that buffer detail while we're here. See, there's some other detail on the buffer beam there. You just see that from the underside there where the buffer beams are glued on, and then the metal buffer heads are just pushed in. We'll put that down, have a look at the body moulding. So we have a good look along the sides of it before, but just have a better look along the top there. Great big vent on the top. It is fairly minimal, but from viewing distance it really does give a great effect. So we have the glazing unit glued in separately, and you can see the separately fitted window units. I believe later models that was all incorporated, and the glazing unit was just the only separately fitted part. See, glazing strips just glued in all the way along. Fairly tidy thing, and again you've got that boss there where the securing screw used to go. So we'll pop that down. Just have a quick look at these service sheets. So this is the one which came out in the 60s and served the model. The green variant I have, and we can see it doesn't have any pickup on the rear bogie, just pickup from the front drive wheels here and the screw holding the whole thing together. So that's from December 67. So we'll just pop that down. And then by 74, in the Hornby Railways period, we'd acquired the pickup on the rear bogie, which hugely improves the running, but we've got the same motor bogie. We still seem to have the securing screw there. I'm not sure when that was finally dropped. And then it changed to a ring-field motor sometime in 78. So you can see the chassis has been completely changed there. So these bogies just clip into the chassis. So quite interesting in terms of following the development of the model. And it covers 074, which is the green one out at the time, which I believe showed up around 77, and R.758, which was the orange version for the Irish market. A great looking model. I've just put the spring clip there back in to hold the motor bogie into the chassis. I'm going to put the chassis back into the body. Now earlier I said there was a code missing from the end of the model. It was this one that goes on this clip, which helps hold the whole thing together. I just simply stuck the other end of the model on the scanner and copied it. So there we go, there's the old code on the end of there. So I just held that upright on the scanner, made a copy, and then just printed a couple off and knifed them out. So that's going to fit into that open gap there in the front of the model. So that just clips in like that. So straight in it goes. You've got to be careful with the wires so they don't get trapped in the body there. And then we just clip it back in at this end. There we go, and in it goes. And there we go, it's all back together. Just switching point 7 there, and we'll bring it from the inside to the outside line. Look at that, no hesitation across the point work there. That secondary pickup on the bogey really does make a huge difference to the running of this model. We'll just run around the curve here and come under the elevated section and see if we can get coupled with that container wagon there. Definitely got a nice coupling there. We'll just have a swift look along this set of wagons there, those nice Freightliners there. And then we've got a mixed set, or an assorted set as it calls them in the catalogue on that one. We've got the Scotch beef for Sainsbury's, and the Ford container way, and then the Pickfords, and then we've got the Harold Wood powder containers, Pullmans in the background there, and some nice open containers. They make a pretty little set there. Now we've got this bright red, or is it orange, Manchester Lines container, followed by the Fifes, lovely colour again with those blue stickers on there, and finished off right at the end there with the BP Chemicals containers. So that's quite a rake, isn't it? Absolutely effortless as she moves away with this great long train. The model number R.758, the Hymek, came along in 1967, and she was two-tone green, changing to electric blue in 1968 and remaining that way till 1970, when she became rail blue. She remained rail blue till 76, and also the model number changed in 77 to R.074 when she became two-tone green again, remaining that way till 78. She gained a ring-filled motor at some point during that period, and the window detailing was changed to be included in the actual body moulding itself rather than a separately fitted part. R.768 was the orange livery Hymek available for the Irish market between 77 and 81. Again, I think probably gaining a ring-filled motor at some point during its run. R.335 was a green Hymek available 79 to 82, gaining an all-over paint finish for a much neater model. There were many versions of the liner trains available over the years. Now, I've just got these early ones on the layout today, and this just represents what we're looking at today. There's some really interesting Canadian and North American, and I think some individual ones for Australia as well. So here I've got the original Freightliner. The one on the railway is a 67 variant. That was around for quite a long time. I believe that was reissued in the late 70s and on possibly into the 80s. You've got the old open set of containers. That was available 69 to 71. Pickfords and Containerway, again 69 to 70. And the BP liquid tank wagons. We've got containers 69 to 73. The Harold Woods, I think that's bulk powder containers, and that was 69 to 73 also. The Sainsbury's and Ford containers, again 69 to 73. And Manchester and Fifes, 69 to 71. So interesting time periods, aren't they? And then we've got this group of 3 assorted containers, which was available in the catalogue between 70 and 71. As I say, there are many others available, and we're just having a look at this group today. So the containers came in 2 basic sizes. We've got the 30 foot and the 20 foot. So these had great doors on the end, so there's terrific play value available there, isn't there? All sorts of things we could hide in there. And they were just secured to the wagon with these holes, and there's pegs on the wagons. We'll have a look at those in a moment. The original Freightliner containers that came along in 67 had this the BR logo on there, and just Freightliner on there. I believe in 1970 the livery changed to Freightliners Limited, slightly lighter plastic again. These have doors on the ends. Pop those away. Old open container, that's an interesting one. Great play value with this, I think. One of the things you could run around your railway with this one. So pop that away. And we've got the chemicals container. And we had the Harold Woods livery as well, and it's got a nice walkway across the top and a ladder down the side, down the end, sorry. And the one on the layout does have some reproduction stickers. There was some missing on that particular model when I got it. I've just copied them and knifed them out. So pop that away. The basic wagon, the liner wagon, originally came along in black in '67, and you can see the pegs there where we secure the loads to the wagon. So quite a flexible system, just like the prototype, I imagine. It came along in black, like we see here, but by 1970, late 60s, 1970, it changed this rail blue. I believe the bogey frames remain the same, and I think later ones in this blue one can be found with a plastic wheel set where the axle and wheel are all moulded as one. And got the old D-shaped couplings on either end there, so great things. Hours of fun could be had with this lot, I think. Pop goes to one side. Now this is the page from the 1970 catalogue, and again that really represents what we've got on the railway today. So it is a terrific collection of models, really very colourful. It really does liven up the railway. I imagine it looked quite modern at the time, so we'll just pop the old catalogue to one side. I do have a handful of these boxed, but mainly they're unboxed. So we'll just have a very swift look at those. So we've got the old BP chemicals containers there. There are two slightly different styles of boxes available here. Not a great deal, but Tri-ang's name on that end. And I do think we've got a price present here and a dealer there, look. Letchworth, 56 Station Road. I wonder if they're still there. And I've got the old contents of the box there on the end. So, fairly nice condition. But, always nice to have boxes of some sort or other. So the window really away there, isn't it? All fractured and broken. A little bit of tearing on the end of the box. And this one's got the information on both ends. And no price present. Looks like something may have been stuck there in the past. We'll pop that to one side. And we've got the old Harold Wood road rail. Again, no information on that end, but there we go. Printed on a separately stuck on label there. You can see the effects of tape again. No price present. I think it might have been there at some point. Pop that down. Don't know why, but I really quite like this set. Always thought this was quite an interesting group of containers. There we go. And we'll just have a swift look at the back end of the box. She goes off underneath the elevated section there. And coming along past the station, it is a bit bumpy along here. Points, diamond crossings and so on. A challenging bit for all those wheels, I think. That motor isn't too noisy. I thought it was noisier than that at first. It's quite a gentle purr, really. I think I'll have to get the later model, 074, the later variant with the Ringfield motor, and see if it has a similar type of performance. I'd be quite impressed if it did on that incline. Just backing off the power a little. It does sound quite nice, doesn't it, that motor? Great noise of all those plastic wheels. We'll pick her up at the far end of the layout there. We'll bring her to a stop just before points number 8 and see what she's like coming through that crossover. There we go. So I'm going to have to look down for the point switch. So, where are we? 7, 8. There we go. So we'll give her a little power and bring her to that double set of points. We'll just keep an eye on all of those wagons. sounds good. Nice and gentle. And there we go. We'll just bring it to a stop and we'll close those points, see if I can do it without looking down with the camera. There we go. So I think that's probably it for this week. Thanks again for watching. I've had a great time making the video and playing with the toys. If you look back next time, we'll try and have something else interesting to look at. Goodbye now.